Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Running Tales podcast. My name's Craig Lewis, and this is the podcast where we tell the extraordinary stories of everyday athletes. This week's guest is Andre Cardin, and Andre has a big running goal that is fast approaching. And when I say fast approaching, I'm talking about imminent. Next week, he'll be taking on the New York City Marathon. As we know, it's one of the most famous and popular road races in the world. But if Andre's New York experience is going to be inspirational, how he has got there is even more so. Unfit, overweight, and unhappy, Andre took the decision to dedicate his life to becoming a healthier, fitter, and happier version of himself. His tool of choice, of course, was running, and it's helped him to achieve all of his goals and more. Andre has tracked his journey through his increasingly popular Instagram channel at Andre Runs. Go and check that out, folks. It's a platform which has proved integral to everything he's done and ultimately to that New York adventure that is coming up on the horizon. So, folks, without further ado, let's go and chat to this week's Running Tales guest, Andre Cardin. Andre, thank you so much for joining me on Running Tales. And I really wanted to start at the start, indeed, the very start. And that's kind of back at school and to find out, were you a runner at school? Did you do much running around that those early years?
I've got to say that at school, I hated running. I was basically I was probably like one of the biggest kids in the class. So the thought of running or doing any form of cross country, just I absolutely despised it. And I even have a a running joke with my wife because she was very good at running at school. And obviously I wasn't. So it's we went to our separate schools, but we have this funny talk about the bleep test in particular. She was probably winning it, and I was often the first person to go out. So she likes to have a laugh about that every now and again.
It's harsh to have to do the bleep test at school, though. I don't think I ever had to.
Yes, it's pretty much the start of every year. Go do the bleep test, and I'd know, dreading it, that I'd be the first one out.
I mean, I wonder whether having to go through something like that. I mean, that is a very ability-driven
Yeah.
test. That's going to be very, very off-putting for those kids who are not so good at it, isn't it?
Yes, definitely, and demoralizing. Everything just made me hate it up
Yeah,
until a few years ago, pretty much.
yeah.
But
Well, let's fast forward a little bit and get onto happier days with it within running. I mean, what kind of changed it for you? What prompted you to start the running journey we see now on your Instagram channel and so on?
well, I think a few years ago, I think I was kicking a football with my wife's nephew, so probably my nephew, and I was quite out of breath. And then because we want kids in the future, I didn't want to be the sort of father who is out of breath when, in 20 years time, 15, 20 years time, when they're kicking a ball with their own kids. So I knew at that point, I think it was 2 years ago, I think May 2023, something like that, where I thought I'd start doing something. And I always refer to it as gamifying my fitness, because just the thought of, if you're not doing anything, if you're on a couch, and the thought of just getting up and starting running isn't really very attractive. So I had an Apple Watch at the time, and it was a lot about completing your activity rings every day. So I sort of made that into a game. And then once you start doing it month by month by month, you start thinking, "Oh, I want to start doing something a little bit more." And then I started running, and
Yeah,
that was only like once or twice a day. And then, um, so from May 2023 to May 2024, I'd done the activity rings, filling it for a year, pretty much, yeah, every day for a year, up until the Birmingham half marathon last year. So it would all
yeah,
built up towards that, from just taking the dog out for a walk right at the start to, instead of taking the dog out for a walk, I'd go for a run a couple of times, involve a bit of cycling as well. And then as I started enjoying running a bit more, those 1 or 2 days per week ended up being a few more days per week. And not up until when I did the half marathon last um May 2024, the Birmingham Half Marathon. That was the point of which that was the to that date, it was the my greatest ever sporting achievement. And I was so proud of myself just to
Yeah.
be able to do that from essentially from a sitting start to get to that point. It just showed that I could do it, or anyone could do it really, just by just having that just change of mentality. Yeah, I didn't like running at the start. It took a very long time for me to even to be able to do it now. Um, but I'm so glad that I made that change and decided to do it. It's I think at the time I was like 125 kilos,
Yeah.
something like that, and going into like over the COVID period, I was sort of like that as well. And it's just in a real horrible place really, where I didn't really like I wouldn't look at myself in the mirror or anything like that, just because I don't want to see what's on the other end. And now I've lost over 30 kilos up to like today's date. And
Yeah.
I'm the lightest I've been in about 30 years. In about 30 years? No, not 30 years, 20 years. Because I was trying to do the sums in my head. I'm making myself older. In about 20 years, from what I can remember, because I'm creeping under 90 kilos now. And it's just an amazing achievement for me personally, just to be able to get to that point. And I've got to the point where I absolutely love running now. I'm doing it 5 days per week. And
Yeah.
if you told me that 2 years ago, I wouldn't have believed that I'd be wanting to go out running. If it's raining or something like that, be like, oh, I'll just put some extra layers on and I'll go out for that run. So it's it's completely changed my life. And my only regret is that I didn't do it earlier. And even when we were talking about at school, I wish I'd persevered with it, because who knows where I would have been
But
right now.
it's interesting, isn't it, though? Because you mentioned the school thing then, and I just wonder whether the love of running is within you, and you
Yeah.
look at books like, I don't know, Born to Run and other things, and they will sort of make the argument that running's within us all. But it almost seems to be coached out of us in PE and so on, and I wonder whether that's the thing that needs to be changed, because you've kind of just blamed yourself there for not taking it on. But I wonder whether the actual answer is um, your statistics school PE teacher who made you do the beep test at the start of every year.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was always a sporty person, but I just couldn't keep up with the kids who are better at sports than me. So it always left you sort of demoralized, and I might as well just do something else, just knuckle down with my studies and things like that, instead of being the sporty person that I actually want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably is a failure of the school system, just to concentrate on the gifted and talented individuals, as opposed to the ones who it would take a lot more work, let's say, to get them to the standard where, you know what I mean? It's hard to
I think it's true, and I mean I don't want to get too deep or political into it, but ultimately it's going to do society a lot of good by
yeah,
concentrating on every child, because you're going to save the NHS
yes, yeah,
issues down years and years down the line, and you're going to have a healthier, happy society. Is probably going to help in terms of mental health issues. So, yeah, the benefits of getting kids who might not want to run and might or do, it doesn't have to be running, but be sporty or do sport or be athletic and just keep moving, who may like yourself be easily dissuaded at that point. We need to concentrate and make that happen, I think.
yeah, definitely promote a healthier lifestyle instead of. I mean, every sector needs help, but as you were saying, without being too political, if you promote a healthier lifestyle, then you protect things that need protecting, and
Hmm.
you don't end up overloading those services, let's say.
Yeah. So you mentioned that it was the little kick around that got you worrying a
Yeah.
bit more about your health, but what was it that made you go, I'm going to do running? Because you had this memory of hating it. Was it your wife's influence there telling you that the beep test is a doable thing?
Well, the plate test thing has only just recently cropped up, which is
Okay.
as we like to talk about running a little bit more
Yeah.
than I probably ever have done. Yeah, the plate test just crops up. I think it was I always said to myself, if I ever get the motivation to go for a run at any point, I'll go for a run. But it's just that I'd never had that motivation to go for a run. And
Yeah.
then the May 2023, something I can't remember. I think I was watching a YouTube video that just popped up on some. I think it was to do with running. I can't remember which video it was in particular, but it popped up and it just gave me that motivation to, as soon as it finished, I'm going to go out for a run. And pretty much that was the turning point of those those walks turning into actually going for a run and just being a bit more productive with my health and fitness.
Mm.
And I said it was definitely a turning point for me within my own journey.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned that even once you got going, you didn't enjoy it
Yeah.
straight away. I guess a twofold question out of that. I mean, what made you keep going to doing something which you still were enjoying, and then what was the point? Was there a single point where you suddenly went, "I'm quite enjoying this now"?
I think I'd say that probably over the last year or so, I've probably started enjoying it. But my main motivator that was just to do with my health and fitness, and I was seeing that the scales were starting to go down, and it was
Yeah.
just something that I tried to do, probably not as thoroughly as I'd ever wanted to do it in the past, but the numbers were going down, so it was making me feel better and just making my own mental health feel better. Um, so that was the point of where I start. It's keep going because who knows where this could go to.
Mm.
And I'm definitely glad as I've said many times, I'm definitely glad that I persevered with that because to this day, I've seen the numbers as low as it's ever been for like 20 years. It motivates me to keep going, keep pushing those boundaries and just see basically where I can get to while I'm still on this journey. I mean, I've
Yeah.
got my end goal of where I want to of why I want to do it, but let's just see what I can do, basically.
Oh, definitely. I mean, let's talk about that really. Let's talk about the difference that running has made to your life because you mentioned physical benefits, but also mental health benefits as well. Has it sort of changed everything for you?
It has, yeah. Clothes that it sounds so materialistic, but there was a pair of jeans that I bought probably about 15 years ago that I bought them and they were too small and I've just never taken them back, thinking, "Oh, I'm never gonna get into them, I'd only bought them from Primark. So it was just like I can't really be bothered to take them back. And then the last 6 months or so, they fit. So, it's from being able to not even look at myself in the mirror to being able to admire the work that sounds a bit strange saying that. Admire the work that the hard work that I've put in. I don't 100% like what I see in the mirror, but it's definitely a lot better than it's ever been. From not even wanting to have a look. If I was shaving or anything like that, just
Mm.
making. I'm not really looking at myself. I'm just getting it done to the point where, yeah, as I said, I'm admiring the work that's been done. Makes me sound a bit big-headed, but I'm really not. It's just seeing myself in a different light.
Mm. Well, to
Probably
be
how,
fair, I think you should be not necessarily a bit big-headed, but proud of what
yeah,
you've
I'm proud.
done and
Yeah,
what you've achieved and the
I am.
difference it's made because you set out with a target, you found it hard and you persevered and you did it and you've started to love it and it's made a massive difference to everything. So yeah, well done you. That's the
Yeah,
bottom
and just
line of
even the
it.
comments from people as well. just saying, "Oh, you look good." Did I not look good before? That's those sort of those comments, and people like even my mom says that she's proud of me for the journey that I've done so far, and you know, it's just one of those things that it just brings a smile to my face to what I've done, really. I implore anybody just to persist.
Mm,
You might not like running at the start, but if you, the benefits that it brings to you when you get over that boundary, and there is that I found there was a wall. I can't remember this certain point, but when it turns from just being a chore to go running to actually loving being able to just go out and run because you can see the benefits like visually and obviously non-visual benefits that it gives to you, and it just opens up a completely different world that you never knew existed. It's so easy to just sit on the couch and do nothing after work and things like that, but it just opens up so much, a bit more of a community, obviously, like through Instagram and things like that. And even when you're on like race days, you talking to people and things like-minded people who everyone's in it for everyone, like the massive community, and that's what I really love about the putting my journey on Instagram and things like that. I'd only put that on there because I realized, I think it was the start of 2024, that I didn't have any before and after photos
right.
because I didn't like taking photos of myself. So there weren't any. And I just wanted a daily account of this is what I look like January 2024, and I can compare it to January 2025, January 2026, and so on. And I know recently I've done a lot of like comparison photos between myself. It's generally between race to race, like the same races.
Mm.
And for me, that's a massive motivator of this is what you look like then, this is what you look like now. What's it going to be like in a year's time? And just those little things, from not being able to even want to look at myself in a photo to actually admiring and trying to pose during those race photos as well.
Oh, well, no, nobody ever looks that good on race photos. That's the
Exactly.
first rule of race photos, isn't it? Um, with the Instagram, were you surprised at the reactions you started to get? Because, and I don't mean this in a disparaging way, because I love it, but your videos are quite simple, aren't they? It's not,
Yeah.
you're not going out and spending ages and ages making some cleverly crafted thing. It's kind of you talking to yourself as you're running along, updating people on your journey. Were you sort of surprised that you got so much back and that it was also positive as well?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I always got this preconception of social media
Hmm.
stuff when you put yourself on there that it's all going to be negative, because obviously the negativity is what makes the news and things like that. It's very rarely ever the
Yeah.
positive comments that make the news. So I was, particularly as I was very self-aware of myself at the start, just and I didn't really want and don't really want to hear any criticism about myself because most of the time I know it already. I don't really want to hear someone else telling me what I already know. So it's definitely it's very encouraging to receive that positivity. I've had no negativity at all, which is completely surprising. But I know it's not the same for everybody. I probably count myself as a very lucky individual. But I know the bigger your following gets, the more criticism that you're most likely to. But I've never done it for that. It's when I do my posts or if I'm saying something, I'm never really trying to teach anybody. It's
Yeah.
generally about this is how I feel at this precise moment when I'm running. So I've usually got my camera just because I'm a bit of a techie uh, geek at heart as well. So it's and it was also another layer of trying to be self-confident. So if I can speak in front of a camera just
Mm.
off the cuff, it will bring another side of me out. So yeah, it's all little things to do with my self-confidence that I've been able to bring out because of my journey, essentially. Yeah.
Mm. But it is hard to for anyone to put themselves out there in that way, and I think sometimes those negative comments, which fortunately you haven't got, can really knock people back when they
Yeah.
do that. But having said that, I mean, I've been on social media quite a lot. You see some horrible comments, but I think
Yeah.
they are the minority. Most people are pretty good out there. They're pretty encouraging, and it kind of it almost renews your faith in human nature a little bit, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yeah, it's even like seeing other people's journeys as well. It's so motivating because everyone's on their own journey. No two journeys are alike because everyone's got their own individual circumstances. So it's encouraging to see people overcome adversity and other things as well. And it just puts into perspective like my issues are only small in comparison, to others, and those and other people are still managed to be able to find the time to just go out. It doesn't matter the distance, just getting out the
Mm.
door is the most important thing. It doesn't matter whether you do 10 meters or ultra marathons, the fact that you're getting out there is so motivating. If you think that's the biggest thing, then that's the biggest thing. And you can generally see by the reactions on, that's the biggest thing that they've ever done. And it's just so rewarding to see and be able to tell other people how well that they're doing and receive that back as well.
Yeah, and I do think, oh, it's the same. There's bad people in every community, I guess, but I think the running community is generally pretty good for that. As a whole, we're pretty good at saying, you ran your first mile, you ran your first 5K.
Yeah.
That is amazing, and you did it in, I don't know, 14-minute miles, and that doesn't matter. That's amazing. We're pretty good at that. There's kind of no judgment, and I know I'm doing that while throwing figures out there, but hopefully people realize that's just kind of illustrative. Um, did you find that with the actual community as well, that it was quite outside of Instagram and so on, but generally people were pretty encouraging for your journey?
Yes, definitely. It's those times when, not every run is a happy one. But then you put your post on. I try to keep it real. Like
Yeah.
even the horrible runs in the rain, or if I'm not feeling well, just I've tried to make a conscious effort of I'm just going to keep putting it and just keep putting how I feel, because you never know who's out there that might be feeling exactly the same, and because I've put it, they may get inspiration to go out and do it themselves. But it's yeah, it's definitely encouraging. Um, but I don't. It's another one of those things where I wish I'd done it sooner as well.
Mm.
I don't know why it took. Well, I know why it took me so long because I had a terrible self-image of myself up until the point. I think I went to the National Running Show and had a chat with someone, and then Um, in fact, the next day I was like, right, let's forget it. I'm just going to start this Instagram page. I'm going to put myself out there, and this is going to be the point of where it's my to and what this is what I was like before to how I was like now, sort of thing. That's yeah. Just forget what anyone thinks. This is my own personal account
Mm.
for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, definitely. And with your running, have you mainly done this on your own, or have you been part of running groups or part run community? I'm kind of seeing it as mainly a solo journey, but have I missed something there?
I'd say 99% of my running is solo. I tried to
Yeah.
do part runs. I've done about, I think, 11 part runs. But now, because I do my long runs on a Saturday, I don't really like to do the part run within it because it's generally at a faster pace than I really want to
Yeah.
ideally do my long run. So I've sort of stopped doing that. And then gen I run generally first thing in the morning. So I'm up at 5 o'clock and I'll go out before work because it's generally the only time I can find the time to go out. Come back from work and you're tired and you don't really want to go out. So I always find the motivation to get up. Even at the weekends, I'll get up first thing in the morning and go out, and then it's done for the day. And I feel like I've done my exercise. I've done it, enjoying it all the time. Um, but part of me wants to be part of a run club that you go to. I mean, I'm part of like a running community. Like there's a group called Jog On, and their main guy's called Harry Morgan, and I've
Yeah.
been to a few of their meetups and things like that, and that's like really good. That's another community of like-minded people where you can just chat and then everyone's following each other's story. I always Part of me is like, if I was to join a run club, then you're gonna get swallowed up by people who are much faster than you, and then you just in the back of my mind, I'm always going to be the slowest person, and I will always be holding up people. So I'm at the moment, I'm happy doing it on my own, but as I get fitter, I'm getting quicker, so I'm pushing my way through the crowd, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, but there's still that point of where, I've never won a medal for winning anything sporting in my life. So getting the medal at races and is so motivating for me. I mean, looking at your all of your medals in like in the background, like
No,
amazing.
none of them are for winning though.
That's fine. A medal for me, a medal is a medal. Those participation medals,
Yeah.
I love them. As I said, growing up, I never got any of that. So just being able to get them, I definitely need a rack now because I've got all my medals are on a hook. That's just getting a rather bit full at the moment. So,
Definitely.
I love that. Something to show this is what I've done.
Mm.
I can show my kids when I'm older and um that this is what their dad did,
Yeah.
this sort of thing. That's why I'm very much looking forward to my like first marathon in a couple of months' time, just to be able to, because that's one of those things, one of those bucket list things where you say, this person did a marathon, here's the medal to to show that I actually did it, and it's so motivating for me. But as you know, like those races are expensive, so you can't realistically do those every week to get the medals. I mean, I'd love to. I'd definitely
Yeah.
love to. But yeah, I'm sort of picking and choosing which ones because I still get that anxiety of that on the race day when I'm in front of people, just because I'm not used to running with others. I mean, that's why I started doing the little bits of part run just to get me involved in used to that those participation events. I won't
Mm.
call part run a race,
Oh no,
but
again,
those
you get me in trouble.
those events. So, and it has helped. I'm definitely a lot more social with my running, and every now and again, even people that you see out on your like morning runs, you just say hello to them. For me, that's enough when you see the same people over and over again, each on their own journey. So
Mm.
at the moment, I don't know about joining a run club, but you never know. You never
I
know.
wonder whether, I think it really depends on getting the right run club. And the
Yeah,
problem is you never know until you've joined the club, whether it's
yeah,
the right club or not, the properly inclusive, because every running club will tell you they're inclusive and that they'll run with the slowest inverted comma
yeah.
runner, etc., etc. But only half of them are telling the truth. You've got to find the right ones. But I do think, and it'd be interesting to talk to you in 6 months, a year, if you've taken the plunge, that you might be turning around to me and going, "I wish I'd done it earlier," like some of these other things.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, every time, everything we talked about, I've said, oh, I wish I'd done that earlier. I wish I'd done that earlier. Yeah. A part of me thinks, should I? Shouldn't I? But then another part is like, yeah, but then some run clubs it means running in the evening, which I don't tend to
Yeah,
do. Because even like right now, Monday, like after work, you're tired, but
yeah.
you just want to get home and then just relax for the rest of the day. So, but I know that I've already done not on a Monday or Friday, but usually I've already done my running for the day, so
Hmm.
I can, I'm done.
I always changed my mind on whether I'm kind of a morning or a an evening runner, and sometimes it depends on what I'm training for. So I'm
Yeah.
also like yourself, and we'll get onto it in a little bit more in a minute. Training for a marathon, which means I'm starting to do longer things, and I no longer have time in the morning to get out
Yeah.
and do the runs before work, which might be something you'll find as you start
Yes.
to
Yeah.
up the distance. So I'm doing more evenings now, but I certainly know what you mean about being tired. I tend to take my I've got in the habit of taking my kit to work, and I'll run straight away after work before I drive home. Because if I drive home and got home, then there's no way I'm going back out again. So,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
That's exactly my um mindset when it comes to that.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. Um, so we've spoken about you going out and running quite a lot on your own, and you're uh, taking on more and more distances. And you obviously mentioned a half marathon that you completed earlier. But what was it that made you go, do you know, I want to run some actual events now and get out there and put myself out there a little bit more and get those medals and so on?
I think during when I was just running recreationally, I was probably I was running those distances, so I ended up thinking, well, I like medals. I might as well try and see if I can do those events to get those medals. Because
Yeah,
before I remember there was like a sport relief mile like many years ago, and I did that, and I think that was the first. It might have been like 20 years ago or something like that. I did that, and I think I did 1 mile, and I've had that was my first medal,
yeah,
and then I've just waited so long until the next one. But regarding the recent like races, it's a case of yeah, I do the distance in training and be like, oh, I might as well see if I can do it at an event and then get the medal, and then I'm getting claiming more medals, then I can justify getting a rack for all of my
yeah.
medals that I've collected, as opposed to them all fitting on a hook at the moment.
What was the first one that you did?
Um, I think the first proper event was the Birmingham 10K.
Yeah.
That was I think I did it in 2015, but it was a case of I'd do it. I'd train for like I say train. I'd just do a bit of running for a couple of months before, and I'd
Mm.
do the event and then just not run again. So up until over 2 years ago, I those little sporadic interjections into running had been few and far between. Just enter a race only because it's the local race. You know, everyone's doing it. Those sort of things. I get a t-shirt at the end,
Yeah.
sort of thing. It's and a medal. It was good enough, but nothing prolonged and nothing to be able to see the results that it would have that it's given me now doing
Mm.
it over such a long time. And then you do. I'd only ever previously done 10Ks, and then I think a couple of years ago, I was like, when you do that distance, you're like, oh, I found this quite not easy, but let's try pushing for the next goal. And then now the next goal after 10K is a half marathon. And then I think after the half marathon this year, I was umming and ahhing about doing a marathon before New York. And it was like, it was for me, whenever I've done the half marathon, it goes through your mind as soon as you think, oh, what if I could do it? But then you're thinking, I'm already tired at this half marathon. The marathon is double the distance. But you said that at 10K and you achieved the half marathon.
Yeah.
So this is just another double on top of that. It's four 10Ks. It's, eight, five, working it's five. It's like just over eight part runs. So,
Yeah.
breaking it down like that, marathon seems really easy. I've said to myself that because I'm also doing London as well. I've said to myself, I'm just giving myself this period up until the end of next April, when after London's finished, and that's at the moment. This is me speaking right now. That's my two and done for marathons because the training is just it takes over your life.
Yeah, it does. It does. So tell everyone, Andre, because we danced around it a little bit with the marathons coming up. Which ones you're doing and when? Because you're not messing around with small ones.
Um, I entered a competition on the running channel to do the New York Marathon, and somehow I won that competition. So I'll be doing that, and then I entered the ballot for London, and somehow got a ballot place. So, two apparently, Lady Luck was on my side for those two instances, and then you end up thinking. Luck goes in threes. So I just try to not do anything. And those radio competitions where they say, "I'll just put your text in." Yeah, I didn't win that. My luck was truly over after New York and London. So, but it's it's given me that motivation to just see what I can do. Just see
Yeah.
if I can do it. I'm putting everything into it. Like by the time New York comes along, I pretty much would have done 6 months worth of training. Um, and then I've said I'll probably give myself December off from running. Well, from running as much as I am
Yeah.
and then in January starting again and going for it up to the end of April. And then, as I said, right now it's two and done. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen after that? I could be wanting to go. Oh, I've done marathons now. I could let's see how far I could go.
Well, you start ticking off the majors.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think that's probably a little bit too far for me. I don't think I'd. You can tell I've considered it because I don't think I'd ever be able to get a qualifying time for something like Boston or something like that.
Yeah, Boston's the tricky one, isn't it, for people?
Yeah,
And also obviously Tokyo is challenging logistically
yes,
and
yeah,
cost wise, I think.
yeah. I was thinking
I
about
mean,
that as and Sydney as well.
yeah,
The logistics. I'm already thinking about the logistics of doing London
yeah.
because my wife doesn't drive. Um, she doesn't drive that far. She doesn't drive on motorways. So essentially, it would most likely be me driving to London and then driving back from London on the day,
Oh no.
potentially. So yeah, logistically, it's a bit of a nightmare that we're having to think around. That's what I generally only do, like local sort of races and things like that. But
Yeah.
it's always a way around these things.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, we'll see how you feel after you've successfully ticked those two off. But New York is obviously not far away at all. How's the training going? And I suppose how excited are you to have that on the horizon?
I'm very excited. I mean, if you'd asked me like a month ago, what the nerves about completing that distance was I'm running 5 times a week, and I have been running 5 times a week for like consistently for the last 8 or 9 months or so. But in the last 6 months or so, it's pretty much just been focused on this. And at the moment, my long runs on a Saturday are just starting to creep up to the. I think this Saturday I got a 30K long run.
Okay.
It just fills me with dread. And then the runs during the week. So I run. So the only days I don't run are Mondays and Fridays. And then either on a Monday or Friday, I'll do like a strength workout, just depending what's happening on either day. So during the week before work, I'm running Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and those runs are becoming considerably longer now, and
Yeah.
it's not as light at 5 o'clock in the morning as it once was.
Yeah.
Starting to get darker as soon as they open the curtains. So it's just becoming a bit tricky. But I just, you run, it's the same as running through the winter. You used to run in the dark. Yeah, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. That's a because at the back of my mind I can see the what it's done for me, and I've got the end goal in sight, like 20 years down the line. That's that's what keeps me motivated. That's what gets me up in the morning to be able to go and do those challenging runs when some of the time I just don't really fancy it, but
Yeah.
you know, why regret one? I've never regret a run that I've done. So, once you go out and once you've got it done, it's done. and then you get all the benefits from that. You'll get no benefits of, for me personally, of just sitting in bed having a lie-in. I'll only regret not going for the run
Mm.
just because of what it's it sets me up every day when I go out. So that's definitely worth the lie-in and missing the run.
Yeah, and I think the really exciting thing is you've clearly got so much out of running and so much out of it from um, just running around your local area and
Yeah.
so on. And now it's going to take you to just incredible places. That route round London um, is obviously spectacular, but New York is something else. We don't, people don't get to go to New York too often, and not many people get to run around it in the New York Marathon and get to do that. So, that's so exciting, and what a thing for the sport that you kind of hated at school
Yeah.
and started to do just to lose a bit of weight. What a thing for it to bring you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I even think opportunities like being able to speak to you that have just all come from just persevering and uh, never, as I've said like many times, it would have been easier for me just to do nothing and then
Mm,
just sit on the couch just watching the world go by and hating things. But now I look forward to every day. Just I go to sleep thinking if I wake up normally, then I'll go for a run. Like I don't even need an alarm clock because I'm always excited to go for a run, which is
yeah.
it just sounds so alien to me. Like even like I mean, it sounds normal to me now, but
Yeah.
even like a few years ago, just saying that to me, like even me just be sitting here and said talking to you, it's just. I'm so happy the way things have turned out. You can see from my smile just thinking about it. Just just being happy. Just people being complimentary to me, and it's definitely a long way from the person who used to finish finish last in the bleep test. It's yeah, just
But
even
I
just
think I
thinking
think
about
I,
it.
I think actually, do you know what the Andre who finished last in the bleep test? We sort of spoke about it already. Maybe he was failed a bit by the school system. He was just a kid after all. But I think what you're really are miles away is the Andre who I'd have maybe spoken to 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, who had a probably, and correct me if I'm wrong, but probably different, slightly more negative outlook on life generally.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, like personally, it was like family wise, everything was going on that trajectory of just normality, just normal. But you know, for me, I wasn't happy in myself, and I always portray quite a positive outlook. Better to be positive, and then you can just hide everything that's within you. It just seems to be that was my normal.
Hmm.
But now I've become a lot more open and probably grouchy if I don't go for my run. But um yeah, it's my if anyone's like umming and ahhing about taking on this sort of journey, just do it. Even if it's just trying it, just at least try to do it. Not you might not be bettering yourself, but I've bettered myself. But it's worth the opportunity to just give it a go, isn't it? What have you got to lose?
Oh, 100%. And I think the thing to remember quite often is obviously you're going on now, you're going to take on marathons, you've done half marathons, but people don't necessarily have to go that. It's not really about the distance. If going a couple of miles is what makes them feel better, if doing that 5K at park run or on their own makes them feel better, that's what it's about, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I never started this off to do any of the things that I'm doing now. It literally was just to be able to run down the road without being out of breath, running down and then those little, oh, I can run down the hill now. So can I go even further than that? And then that even further becomes a lot further. And you start pushing yourself, and for
Yeah.
me, it's I've started pushing myself towards like the marathon distance, which still frightens me to this day.
Well,
But it's
I've done three and a couple of ultras, and it still frightens me. So I'm not sure that ever changes.
I was hoping that after one, I'd be like, oh, I can do this now.
Yeah,
Mentally, for me, if I need to be able to do the distance, and then once I've done the distance, it's clicked for me. I
yeah,
can, no matter if the conditions are completely different, it's clicked into it. I can do the distance. It's like I know you're advised against doing the distance in training or any preparation, but part of me was like, oh, what happens if once I've once I can do it in training, then I'm not going to waste this opportunity. But I've always said to myself, if I have to crawl over that finish line in New York, I will crawl over it. I'm not
yeah,
going out there and not finishing this. I will crawl across the line
yeah.
if I need to.
No, it's really interesting. I've always sort of thought that about any distance really, but certainly like I'm always tempted to go. Oh, God, I'd just like to do the full distance in training just to know that I could actually do it. But yeah, well, I think we all know the reasons why it's not actually a good
Yeah,
idea, but it
it's
is tempting. I'm kind of with you on that one for sure. Um, I suppose we've touched on it just there a minute ago, but what would you say to anybody who was in the situation you were 4 or 5 years ago? To try and get them to start their journey?
you just basically got to remember that you're not alone in this. There'll be millions of other people who feel exactly the same way as you. And even if you don't want to go out and be active, at least reach out to someone and talk to someone. And that might even spur you on to becoming active and just wanting to change it. I mean, you're the only person that can make that decision to change it. But for me, when I made that decision, I've not looked back and I haven't regretted it because of the positivity in all aspects of my life that it's given me. So I can, as I've said, it would have been easier just to sit back, and I probably looking back, I've probably sat back on the couch for far too long, and I wish that I had taken that opportunity sooner rather than. But I'm glad that I did take it
Yeah.
because it would have been easier just to be still sitting there doing, but I don't want to. I want to be there in the future, being able to have all my faculties as much as much as I can. I don't want to be a burden to the system. I don't want to be a burden to my family. And then the only way I can do it is by trying to be as healthy as I can. And for me, this is the way that I can do that.
Yeah, and presumably absolutely no problem now with having a little kick around with your nephew or anyone else.
No, I'm not out of breath. I'm not
Yeah.
sweaty or anything like that. So it bodes very well for the future. And when we do have kids, it's I can be a present father
Yeah.
sort of thing, which is my ultimate goal. And this is just one step of on that. So,
Yeah, well, that's fascinating actually, and perhaps I'll give you a chance maybe to leave it there because that is an interesting ultimate goal, isn't it? It's to get healthier, to do these amazing things like New York and London, but your final ultimate goal
yep.
is to do it for your family, even the family that is still to come.
Yes. Yep. Definitely, yeah. That's the ultimate goal. So, some people have maybe like like a speed, like a distance, a time, or something like that. Or it's those are not really a time distant, a time goal because I feel like as I'm losing weight, I'm getting quicker anyway.
Hmm.
So there's really no limit to where I can go to. So I don't really know what my own limits are, just because I'm surpassing them all the time. So to have this ultimate goal that everything is part of, it is enough for me, sort of thing. That makes sense.
No, it does, Andre. Then that's really wonderful and well done on your journey so far.
Thank you.
Well done on everything you're doing and encouraging people with the Instagram posts and so on. And good luck at New York and London next year. I'm sure you'll absolutely smash them both. And of course, thank you so much for joining me on the Running Tales podcast. Folks, if you were listening and you enjoyed Andre's chat today, I'm going to very quickly let him dive in one last time and tell you where you can find his Instagram on, because I'm supposed to have it written in front of me, but I don't. So Andre, let people know quickly.
You can follow me on everything. My mainly I'm on Instagram, but I am on TikTok. But pretty much those things end up with the same thing that is on Instagram. But it's Andre Runs with a Z at the end. That's where you can find me.
Superb. Yeah. So, folks, check out Andre Runs. Obviously, continue to check out our other episodes here on Running Tales. Do your usual like and share and review and all the good stuff. And we will see you again soon for another Running Tales podcast.